Okay, so I was out riding my bike today with a seat on it, but I was out riding my bike today and I blew out my front tire, so I was like, hey, I might as well make a video on it, make a video on everything else that's almost worthless, just to help people out. I did the rear one, just might as well replace it in sets in case they rubbed at the same time, but it wasn't too hard. Just make sure you line up the tire, make sure you take the brakes off and all that, no problem there. But yeah, let's get down to it. It's a 26-inch. Make sure you get the right tube. This is some foreign crap that Amazon sent me, but it had a lot of good reviews, so I went ahead with it. Hopefully it holds my fat butt weight. As you can see, you can't really read it other than the size, and that size does fit this. It expands up to that, which you really don't want to expand it too much because it gets thinner as the rubber expands. But yeah, make sure you don't get one of them little narrow tubes for like racers and all that. So first you're going to want to unhook your brakes if this is your style. Very simple, just push on the left side, pops right out. If you don't do that, the tire won't really go between there, and especially once you get it all pumped up, it won't want to go through there. I use a crescent wrench. You don't have to take these nuts off all the way, but you have to loosen them. You definitely want them on there a little bit when you go to. There's one on the other side. Looks the same. I don't really need to change you guys over to look at it. It helps you line it up if you leave them on there. I'm going to kick my kickstand out. And the tire should just pop right off now. There you go. It just fits down like that. And we're going to move it on over to my laboratory. I like doing stuff in the house, in the living room, to show you guys you don't need a garage, you don't need a, you always go to the park, I guess. It may look a little weird doing it in the park, but oh well. So my kit came with this. I don't really need it. It really helps you out on little kits. Let's make sure I'm in the frame. Okay. Make sure you guys have an air pump. I have an automatic air pump, but sadly it runs off 12 volt. So you're going to start off with taking off the valve stem cap. That helps keep the tube on. Just going to throw that to the side. And you're going to want to roll the tire off only one side of the rim. Leave the tire on. Just kind of work your finger through there. The tube will fall off. The tire will fall off to one side. There you go. Then you can pull it to one side, pull that old tube out of there, get over here, push the valve stem through, they'll pop right off. Mine's a little bit wet. Must have been driving in rain today. Now, if you had a thorn go through it, pull the thorn out obviously. It's going to be in the tire plus through the tube. Also, if you want, go ahead and pull it up like this. Make sure this black is over your spokes. Them can also poke through. See how that one right there. That one can definitely rub your tire, rub your tube. I didn't expect this to actually be a problem. A little bit of rust right there. Not too bad. I didn't expect that to be a problem, so I'm going to have to go get a pair of pliers. I don't like to piece my videos together, so you guys are just going to have to sit there while it runs. Okay, got me some pliers. I'm going to just pull that over that little spot and just hope it stays there. It can definitely rub a hole in a tube. And of course my pliers are too. Guess I'll use a knife. Get down in there. Get the knife down in there. Pick it up, bring it over. Look at that. Kind of goes wherever you want it. Most likely when you put the tube in, it's going to move all this around a little bit. There's a lot of different ways to put in a tube. Maybe 5, I guess. I don't know. This is the way I do it. I'm going to put this back down here. Flip it on the other way. And I'm going to get my new tube. Some people pre-air these up. I don't. There's a little tool they give you. I think that part's to pull it out, pull the tube out, which didn't really need it. That's the, I'll show you what this is for later, just in case you have a tighter tire. And so these are good. There you go, there's your tube. That's what it looks like after. Before, I mean. That's what it looks like after once it airs up. Not much to it. If you're a heavier person, get the heavy duty one. Slime really doesn't make a difference because once it's punctured, normally it leaks out super quick. I guess it'd help if there's like needles that are going into it, but yeah, you want super heavy duty if you're a heavier guy because this tube will be thicker. This one seems pretty thick. It's alright. But if you get too thin, as this expands, it gets thinner and won't hold your weight as well. So this is the beginning of it. Take the cap off because the cap will hold it in. Find your hole in your rim, which mine's right here, which is where the original valve stem went in, and put the valve stem as close as you can to there. And be very careful to just keep it there. Don't put it through the hole yet, and just kind of push the tube into the bottom of the tire. Work your way around, making sure that you don't pull this valve stem too far away from where it's supposed to be. If you do it right, it'll be a very easy process of just airing the tube up with no problems. Mine blew out just because I'm probably too fat for a tube. Okay, got that clear around. It actually fits a bit snugger than my other one I just put on. There, it's in. Make sure it's not overhanging any. Now put your valve stem through. Make sure you try to get it as straight as you can. If it isn't straight, it's going to snag out the valve stem and cut the base of it. Especially when you're a bigger guy or it is... I don't want to go through there. Bigger guy, or it starts to deflate a little bit and you re-air it up. Mine's probably not wanting to go through because there is that liner in there. I've lost that just a little bit. Now put your new valve cap on there so it doesn't slip back through. Make sure it didn't get in a knot, and then push your tire back on. Make sure you don't push the other side off. Just work your way around. Make sure as you're going around, the other side isn't also just following you around. If you've ever done car tires, it's the same thing. If you're doing car tires, most likely you're not watching this. Okay, this is what this tool's for. If you need it, I'm just going to example. Put it on there, flex it. But it popped it right on for me. If you don't have the toolkit, this part, you can still do it. I actually did my first tire without that. Now look around, kind of push the tire, there's a little rim on it, into the little grooves, so when the tire expands, it will lock together. Make sure there's no part of your tube hanging out. Make sure the valve stem is straight. If it's not, take it off and re-straight with the processes and the steps we just did. And there, I'm ready to air it up. This is a 26-inch, and the recommended PSI is on the side. Mine's 40 to 60 pounds. We're going to take you out to the car, which is where my air pump's at, because it's automatic. I just flip the switch. It's nice. And we put 50. Okay, we're clear out at my car. Hopefully you guys can see enough, because it's 2 in the morning. This is when I like to make videos. So I'm going to unscrew the cap on here. This is the bike pump I have because it's instant. Now as it pumps up, make sure this rim stays on there. I'm just going to walk away because I think I got it. I'm going to put my little pump on here. Secure it on there. Mine, you can automatically set how high you want it, then you just flip the button. I'm going to put it at 30 and then pump it up to 30. Make sure everything's good. Then pump it up to 50. Actually, I'm going to do 25. Halfway. It's going to be loud. Kind of feel it as it pumps up. You should know what a pumped up tire feels like. me, that's not really like that right there. It is in there, but it feels like it's kind of slipping out a little bit. I think it's alright. Everything else looks really good. I'm feeling it. You don't even have to look at it, you can feel it. You can feel when the tube is kind of stretching out a little bit. Again, sorry, I'm outside. Okay, that was 25 pounds, which it overdoes it to 27. Now we're going to up it to 50. The only spot I don't like is that right there, but I think it'll be alright. Now, put it at 50 pound, which is in between the 40 and the 60 it's requiring. I'm just going to let it pump up. I walked away for a second. Make sure everything's ready for the last part of the video. So pumped it up to 50. We'll get it back into the living room and see how it does. You guys can check it in different ways and make sure it's alright. Okay, we're a little bit more light. So I'm going to check it out a little bit. Now that we're not in a dark environment. Turned out perfect. Tires are a little bit dry rotted on this unit. Does seem to bulge out just a little bit right there. Maybe it hit a rock at some point in its life, but yeah. Do a little bounce test, make sure it ain't gonna blow out just from bouncing. Now let's go over and put it back on the bike. Now normally these tires have directional. The rear is pretty simple because it has a gear on it, so as long as you didn't take the tire off, be pretty simple putting it back on. This one says the drive. A little arrow right there. It says drive that way. So it needs to go this way. Most bikes aren't flying in reverse all the time, so go ahead and put your nuts on just a little bit. Just a little bit, because they actually help you line this up. Just put it like this, wheel it in, and put that right between the nut head on the inside and the nut you did there, and then just tighten it down a little bit. Get them both a little bit snug so it centers the wheel. And then I'm going to put the brakes on. I'm going to reapply put the brake back in. I'm going to pull it clear back with the wiring first. It's going to be a bit harder now because the tire's pumped up. Yeah, pulled right through. Test the brakes a little bit, make sure they work. That little boot can go that way if it's going to stay on there, which on this unit it does. I'm going to keep the kicks down, stand down. There we go. We're just going to tighten the bolts back down and it should be a good tire ready to go. You tighten them good. Because if you just get a little bit of air or you're going down a cliff and it loses your momentum of the weight against it, it makes it fall off. I guess your brakes would hold it on. There you go. Brand new tire. Brand new tube. There you go. And if it's flat in a day, most likely you got a problem. Thanks for watching.